Welcome back to another episode of Plant-Based Dads. I'm Tim, and today I want to show you how to make a SCOBY, a symbiotic culture of bacteria and yeast. This is needed to make kombucha, and so that's where we're ultimately headed towards. And this can be used for fermentation of tea or a double fermentation of tea, and we'll show that difference later on in other episodes. So today, for the ingredients I have to begin this, I'm going to be using 6 cups of boiling water. I've tied up 5 bags of black tea, 5 bags of green tea. I was looking for nutritional benefit. You can go with just black tea if you want, or just green tea. And then to start the process, I've chosen the non-flavored original kombucha bottle. So I've been spending money on this, and I decided it's time to make my own, and I can have multiple flavors going on. These bottles can be reused as well, so begin saving them if that's where you're headed to make fermented tea. So to begin, I want to get my boiling water, and I've got a mixing bowl with measurements on it. So I'm going to add about 6 cups. You can do this on the stove in a pan if you want. You can brew it for 2 hours until it comes down to room temperature. You can speed that up by putting ice in, or you can leave it overnight. So this flexibility in this part is up to you. So let's begin getting our tea made. Just to help, I've tied these. You could do the same versus having 10 bags all off to the side. Okay, great. We're gonna come back in a couple hours and I'll show you how we're gonna add this and then get it in our jar. So I brewed my tea and I've let it come down to room temperature. So I used this method that was in this glass measuring cup, but you can use a pan, leave it overnight. You could use ice cubes, have it ready to go in an hour. That's up to you. So I just wanted to show you this method. This worked for me and my schedule last night and today. So remember, I use a combination of green and black tea. I normally wouldn't do this when I make tea, but I'm just really squeezing this to get the benefits out. Okay. And you can either use a gallon jar this size or this smaller size. And I'm choosing to use a smaller size because it's easier to get the SCOBY to grow. It's not as much landscape. And so I brought a sample here of when I use this size jar, how thin it is. Okay, so I wanted to show you a sample of how, and this is growth for just 1 week. So I wanted to show you that. So you can see that the landscape is smaller here than here. So this just seems to me in my mind that it's gonna take longer. So when I read things that say, hey, to make a SCOBY, it's gonna take 4 weeks or 3 weeks, it's like, really, if I use a smaller container, we should be good at 1 week. So that's why we're choosing to use this. Now, when I do my fermentation of tea for that second fermentation as well, then I'm gonna use this because I'm gonna need this quantity. But for right now, we're just making a SCOBY. So that's why I think that this is optimal. Okay, so we're gonna start with a cup of sugar. Next, I have the plain kombucha, no flavoring, just the plain one that we're gonna add as like a starter to get that going. It's gonna be faster. So I'm gonna open this up and pour it in here so it can mix. Again, that SCOBY, that yeast, that bacteria is gonna eat away at that sugar. So that much sugar isn't gonna really be in our drink. Again, that sugar is used by the bacteria, and then that produces the carbonation we get. It's from that. So let's pour some tea in here now. Okay, so now we want to put a lid on this and not tighten the lid, but I have just loose on here. If you don't have that, it's better to put like something on the top of the bungee cord or a rubber band to enclose it just to keep the bugs out. All right, so when we're getting started to make kombucha and we're using glass jars, we're using a silicone spatula spoon or a wood spoon, whatever you have, we just have to make sure that this is all clean, right? So for us, we've run it through the dishwasher. I've rinsed it. But if something's been sitting around for a while, sometimes just taking vinegar and doing a wipe on everything should get you in the place where you're not going to grow mold, but we're going to grow lactobacteria to make this SCOBY. Okay, everything's together. It's time to go store this for a week untouched. That can be your shelf in your bedroom closet. That's warm and dark. We've got a pantry set up, and I put a flour towel over this to keep it dark and a little warm. Anyway, so what you have that will work to make this successful, do that with what you're comfortable with. Okay, we'll see you in a week. Welcome back. It's been a couple weeks, and I'm happy to report that we have a SCOBY that is definitely maybe a ½ inch thick, and really to make kombucha we only need maybe a ¼ inch thick. So do you need to wait 2 weeks? Not really, but this is showing you the flexibility you have in making this. Okay, let me pull it out to show you. Again, I've got clean hands that have been washed. That's very important whenever you're touching your SCOBYs. You don't want to introduce anything new. So this was the upside, which you can see is clear, opaque, and some browns. If I pull on the other side, see some blackness specks. These are from the tea. This darker stuff is sort of the yeast part of it. But anyway, this is awesome. We are ready to start. So this tea that you have, keep this. This is where your SCOBY can live. We're going to use some of this juice as a starter when we make our next batch. So save this so a lot of the things don't get thrown away. Okay, that's it. You have a SCOBY made. Well, as I clean up here, just want to remind you for our upcoming videos on different teas that we're going to ferment, flavorings, and the SCOBY Hotel, the maintenance of that. Anyway, hit the like or subscribe button. You'll get notified. I tried to anticipate as many questions as I could in this video, so use the comment section if you've got questions or comments or compliments. Yeah. Anyway, thanks for joining. See you soon.